We need to talk about that moment. You know the one? That knot that forms in your stomach? That split-second hesitation right before you click the mouse, and that sinking feeling of frustration when a trade you planned perfectly still goes completely wrong. It's a feeling that makes you question everything. But what if the answer isn't in another indicator or another strategy? What if it's not on the chart at all?
I mean, think about it. You did everything right. The analysis was spot on, the setup was textbook, you followed every single one of your rules. And you still lost money. It is the single most maddening experience in trading, and it's exactly why most people fail. They immediately start looking for a new system because they're convinced the problem is somewhere out there.
But the real battle, it isn't out there. It's right here, between your ears. And Mark Douglas, who is arguably one of the greatest trading psychologists of all time, he taught that what separates the pros from everyone else isn't some secret formula, it's their mindset.
He just got it. He understood that the market is pure, chaotic possibility, and our brains are literally wired to find certainty where there is none. And that desperate need for control, that need to be right, is what opens the door to fear, to greed, and all the emotions that blow up our accounts. So today we're diving deep into his core lessons to show you how to finally win that internal battle.
All right, let's get into the first huge mindset shift that Douglas teaches. This is a complete 180 in your perspective. It's about stopping trying to be a fortune teller and starting to think like a casino owner. Seriously, getting this one thing right can change your entire game.
So here's the bottom line. Professional trading is not about predicting what's going to happen next. It's a numbers game, pure and simple. All you need is an edge, a system that over a long series of trades wins just a little bit more than it loses. The outcome of any one trade, totally random. But the outcome of, say, 500 trades, that becomes statistically predictable.
And this casino analogy is just perfect. Think about it. A casino doesn't freak out when one guy hits a massive jackpot. They don't care. Why? Because they know that over millions of spins on that roulette wheel, their mathematical edge guarantees they will make a profit. Your trading edge is your casino. Your only job is to let it play out, trade after trade, without getting emotionally hung up on any single spin.
And this right here, this is the night and day difference. The amateur, their entire ego and emotional state is tied to being right on this trade. They feel like a genius when it wins and a total idiot when it loses. The professional, they've completely detached their ego. Their only goal is to flawlessly execute their plan. They know that if they just keep following the process, the profits will eventually take care of themselves.
And that leads us straight into our second point. See, if you can truly, deeply accept that individual trades are random, well, the next logical step is to focus on the only thing you can actually control, your own behavior. This section is all about taming those emotional reactions that wreck even the most brilliant strategies. Now this is a total game changer. Most of us have been taught our whole lives that making a mistake or taking a loss is a failure. But in trading, a loss that happens when you follow your rules perfectly, that's not a failure. It's a business expense. It's just the cost of doing business, like a restaurant buying ingredients. Once you reframe it like that, the fear of losing just loses its grip on you.
So how do you actually do this in the heat of the moment? Douglas gives us this simple but incredibly powerful three-step process. First, before you even think about clicking buy, you define your exact risk, to the penny. Second, you have to genuinely, mentally accept that loss before you're even in the trade. And third, only then can you execute without fear and without hope. If you can't look at the trade and honestly say, I am perfectly okay if this trade loses this exact amount, then you're not trading, you're gambling.
And that brings us to the engine behind it all, discipline. You can have the most brilliant mindset and the perfect strategy, but they are completely worthless if you can't act on them consistently. Discipline is just doing what you know you're supposed to do, whether you feel like it or not. It is the bridge that connects your trading plan to your profits.
Look, the goal here isn't to become a robot without feelings. It's to achieve what's called emotional neutrality. This means you still feel that little jolt of excitement from a win or the sting from a loss, but you just observe those feelings. You don't let them drive your next decision. Your actions stay calm, they stay measured, and they stay consistent, because every trade is just one single data point out of 1,000.
Okay, now we're going to go to the deepest level of Mark Douglas's work. This is the idea that your strategy, your risk management, all that stuff is only half the battle. The real work is in transforming who you are.
Douglas taught that you don't actually trade the market, you trade your beliefs about the market. For instance, If you have a deep subconscious belief that says, I always screw things up, guess what? You'll probably find a way to consistently cut your winning trade short just to avoid screwing them up later. Your actions in the market will literally bend to make those beliefs come true. Your P&L, it's just a mirror reflecting your inner world.
So if you want to change your results, you have to consciously install new beliefs. Beliefs like these. You have to internalize truths like I am a disciplined executor of my system and my self-worth has nothing to do with my P&L. When you do this, you're not just following a set of rules anymore, you are actively becoming the kind of person who embodies those rules naturally.
And this is how you make that new identity stick. At the end of every single trading day, don't ask yourself, did I make money today? The market controls that. Ask yourself this one question. Did I follow my plan perfectly? Because that you control 100%. A day where you follow your plan and lose money is a successful day. A day where you break your rules and get lucky with a win, that's a failure because you just weaken the most important thing you have, your discipline.
And this, right here, is the ultimate reward. The money? It's just a byproduct. The real win is the person that trading forces you to become in order to succeed. Disciplined, patient, objective, and incredibly resilient. Trading, when you approach it this way, becomes one of the most profound journeys of personal growth you can ever take.
So, as we wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with this one final question from Mark Douglas himself. Are you spending all your time and energy searching for the next holy grail strategy? Or are you doing the real work of building the trader who can execute any decent strategy with consistency and confidence? Because in the end, the edge isn't in your charts. The edge is in you.